The economic team of President-elect Bongbong Marcos is now taking shape, with Bangko Sentral Governor Ben Jochno set to head the finance department. Marcos Jr. is also planning to have his own drug czar, and it could be President Rodrigo Duterte. The Comelec proclaims 55 winning party list groups. But with the Makabayan bloc securing fewer seats in the Congress, some lawmakers say it's going to be more difficult for the opposition to push for their legislative agenda. And action continues in round 2 of the UAAP Season 84 Women's Volleyball. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know to jumpstart your day. I'm Riza Diaz. President-elect Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has named Bangko Sentral Governor Ben Jochno as his finance chief. Let's get to know what his plans are for the country's finance department. Gerard de la Peña reports.
President-elect Bongbong Marcos has named another key member to his economic team. Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Benjamin Jochno on Thursday accepted the offer to be the next finance chief. Jochno previously served as budget secretary for the Duterte administration and before that for the Estrada administration.
I'm committed to observe continuity of sound macro and fiscal policies that have helped position the Philippines among the most resilient emerging economies.
To ensure continuity, Jochno says he will keep most of the DOF undersecretaries. Meanwhile, Monetary Board member Felipe Medalla will complete Jochno's unexpired term at the BSP, which is until July next year. Medalla was also the Director General of NEDA during the Estrada presidency. Former President Noynoy Aquino's NEDA chief Arsenio Balisacan, meanwhile, will return to the post. He is the current chairman of the Philippine Competition Commission. As for the recommendations of outgoing Finance Chief Sonny Dominguez, Jochno says it is too early to make pronouncements. The DOF recommends imposing new taxes to help the government pay off its pandemic debt.
To me, the focus should really be on tax administration. Okay, and we need a lot of money to, number one, to continue our growth momentum, and secondly, to, of course, to service our higher level of public debt.
For Marcos Jr., there is a need to overhaul the country's tax system.
We are trying to create some fiscal space to reduce the load on ordinary citizens and maybe the tax load.
But one economist says the incoming administration should be cautious in imposing new taxes.
As much as possible, it's also avoiding higher taxes on the poor and the vulnerable sectors. It's preventing the hardest hit sectors from becoming worse off as a result of these higher taxes.
For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, We Are One News.
The Comelec has finally proclaimed 55 winning party list groups that will occupy 62 seats at the lower house. In this year's election, some neophyte groups received the most number of seats, beating out old-timers like members of the Makabayan bloc. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro gives us a front seat to the story.
The 2022 elections were full of surprises, with neophyte candidates beating out old-timers in the party list race. One rider party list, a Bicol-based group formed only last year, got the second highest votes among party list groups.
Ang nakikita po natin, kailangang makapagsulong tayo ng mga batas na magpoprotekta sa hanay ng mga motorista.
One rider representative, Colonel Bonifacio Bosita, was actually arrested this February for allegedly harassing a traffic enforcer on behalf of a rider. Newcomers like One Rider, For Peace, and Tutok to Win joined the top 10 party list groups with the most votes, edging out old-timer party lists from the Makabayan bloc. Bayan Muna, which won 1.1 million votes to bag 3 party list seats in the last 2019 elections, now only got a little more than 200,000 and no seat at all. Affiliated groups like Gabriela, ACT Teachers, and Kabataan just squeezed past the minimum numbers to get 1 seat each.
Halo-halo na yan. You had the red tagging, you had intimidations and threats, you had trumped-up charges. Marami sa mga leaders namin kinasuhan ng kung ano-ano.
The representatives of Gabriela, Kabataan, and ACT teachers will now be part of the very small minority in the 19th Congress, in which the supermajority belongs to political dynasties that have allied with the incoming administration. The top party list ACT CIS will have Jocelyn Tulfo, wife of incoming Senator Raffy Tulfo, and mother of incoming QC Congressman Ralph Tulfo. The third-ranked party list Tingog will have former Congresswoman Yeda Romualdez as its representative. Romualdez is the wife of Martin Romualdez, cousin of President-elect Bongbong Marcos, and touted to be the next Speaker of the House of Representatives. Ako Ilocano party list, which bagged one seat, will be represented by Richelle Singson, daughter of Narcavan Mayor Chavez Singson. Kusog Tausug, also bagging one seat, will be represented by the daughter of Sulu Governor Abdussakur Tan. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro, we are One News.
Both Gabriela and ACT Teachers Party list expressed sadness over co-Makabayan bloc member Bayan Muna not winning even a single seat in Congress this 2022 elections. Speaking to 1PH sa Totoo Lang, Gabriela Representative Arlene Brosa said she's dismayed over Bayan Muna's loss, noting that some of the winning party lists do not even come from the sectors they claim to represent. In the same program, ACT Teachers Representatives Franz Castro said party list representatives from the Makabayan bloc also continue to face harassment and red tagging. Now, the lawmakers accuse the current administration of hatching a plan to remove representatives of underrepresented sectors from Congress, noting that it is even President Duterte who is launching attacks against them. Still, Castro and Brosas say the Makabayan bloc is the real minority and they vow to continue Bayan Muna's legislative agenda in the 19th Congress.
Kami sa Makabayan Bloc, ipupurso natin yung mga legislative agenda na may iwan ng Bayan Muna. Kahit na kami naman ay kukonti, actually hindi naman bago na kami ay kukonti doon sa Kongreso, pero magdo-double effort tayo, no, para maisulong pa rin itong mga legislative agenda ng Bayan Muna at saka ng Anak Pawis. Sa bahagi din ng opposition, hindi rin lang din kami, alam natin na mabubuo din yung minority bloc na siya rin magsusulong noong yung mga legislative agenda para sa mga underrepresented at marginalized sector. So magiging boses kami.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on Wood News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The president-elect has also revealed more members of his cabinet. Marcos Jr. said outgoing President Rodrigo Duterte could even be part of it if he wants to. Paul Samarita tells us more in this report.
I would like to officially and formally introduce to you our press secretary designate, Attorney Trixie Cruz Angeles.
In her first press conference with the media, incoming Press Secretary Trixie Cruz Angeles was asked about her previous stand and criticism against the Marcos family. Cruz Angeles' old posts that were critical to the Marcoses resurfaced online, following her appointment as the next PCOO chief under President-elect Ferdinand Marcos Jr. To this, Cruz Angeles said she has simply changed her mind. She also admitted bringing this up with Marcos Jr.
We've talked about it. As you know, I'm a blogger, and we have talked about it extensively on the blog. As you know, we have conducted, in fact, several lives about it, and I've told my story about how and when I changed my mind about it. So that's it. It's pretty much it.
Meanwhile, President-elect Bongbong Marcos will have his own special assistant. That is former Davao del Norte Congressman Anton Lagdameo, who is now part of BBM's transition team.
That actually is an existing position already. Special assistant, yes. Well, I suppose we can already, see, we've asked Congressman Anton Lagdameo to fill that position. Very important in the sense that we have worked, we've known each other since he was a child. Hindi na ako child nun, pero since he was young. So he knows me very well. He has been with us, working with me for past 10 years, mga ganon. So in terms of the working relationship, and then, between the two of us, siguro we've already found the modus vivendi. So that should be an easy easy position for him to pick up on.
The position of a special assistant to the president started during the time of President Rodrigo Duterte when he appointed now Senator Bongo to the position. And speaking of Duterte, Marcos Jr. said he had met with the outgoing chief executive several times. Duterte supposedly urged him to continue his war on drugs.
The one thing that he was very assertive about was that ituloy mo yung anti-drug syndicate na sinimulan ko. Do it your own way. He really said that. Do it your own way. Palitan mo, gawin mo yung gusto, pero wag mong iiwanan yan dahil kawawa ang kabataan natin.
When asked if he is open to the possibility of Duterte to be his anti-drug czar, Marcos said he can have it if he wants it. The incoming president also said that he is willing to give government positions even to his political opponents.
Politika lang yan. Trabaho na tayo. Okay lang yun. For me, that's part of it. And that's finished. Ang aking criterion talaga sa kukunin namin, kung sino yung marunong, sino yung magaling doon sa area na yun, at handang tumulong.
Marcos Jr. also confirmed that San Miguel Corp Tollways president and CEO, Manny Bonoan, will be the next DPWH secretary. He also offered positions for Congressman Rodante Marcoleta and Professor Clarita Carlos, but they have yet to decide on the matter.
The second round of eliminations of the UAAP Season 84 Women's Volleyball Tournament has kicked off with a bang. The UST Tigresses rallied from 2 sets down to close out Adamson for their third consecutive win. Ea Laure, the league's leading scorer after the first round, dropped 21 big points to keep UST at second spot with 6 wins and 2 losses. Next up, the UP Lady Maroons finally snapped its 4-game losing streak by extending UE's skid to 8 straight. UP made easy work of the Lady Warriors, sweeping them 25-23, 26-24, and 25-17. Now, after exiting the first round with a loss, the Ateneo Lady Eagles recovered by handing FEU their 5th consecutive loss. Notably, 2 Lady Tamaros who were out of this game will no longer be returning to finish the league. Laika Ebon and Marta Mora, both in their 5th playing years, have opted out of the tournament. Ebon and Mora have seen their minutes dwindle down the season, though FEU says the players are simply out of to pursue other endeavors, having already finished their academic requirements. And last but not the least, the NU Lady Bulldogs continued their domination of the season, extending their flawless streak to 8th. That's after defeating the DLSU Lady Spikers in sweeping fashion 25-22, 25-20, and 25-17. And that is how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later again at 9 in the morning as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now, www.signalplay.com, and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.